Andrea Jenkyns.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I welcome this bill as both a reasonable and essential step for our government to take in light of the EU's unreasonable position. It has become crystal clear, ever since our country voted to leave, that the EU would not act in a constructive spirit, that they would not treat the UK as an independent country with equal basis in negotiations, as it has with other countries such as Canada. Despite this country's decision to say no to the project of ever closer integration, reinforced by last year's general election result, Brussels has continually attempted to trap us in its orbit. The British people will never accept the status of a vassal state, despite the arrogant efforts of Mr Barnier. Just look at his Twitter as evidence of this. This bill is a reasonable step for any government to maintain its sovereignty. It upholds the principle of Article 4 of the Northern Ireland Protocol, and without this bill, trade across the Union of Nations would be severely limited. In light of the EU's continued resistance to a mutually beneficial free trade agreement, a no deal would be our only available option, and this bill makes provision for that. Otherwise, Northern Ireland would remain subject to the EU's custom laws, and it would remain subject to large portions of its internal market laws, all enforced by the EU's Court of Justice. Yes.
I thank the member for giving way, because she's quite rightly put her finger right on the issue that affects Northern Ireland. Under the protocol, Northern Ireland goods will be subject to import declarations, entry summary declarations, safety and security certificates, export health certificates, physiosanitary certificates and certificates of origin. This bill, thankfully at last, clears up that we will have a union without paperwork.
I thank the honourable member, a true patriot putting our country's interests above the EU's. No. Right. EU rules on state aid would also allow the EU to impose state aid regime on any UK domestic policy. This is not reasonable. We chose to say no to further integration in 2016, and 4 years on, our friends in Brussels haven't understood this. While we are happy to trade freely with them, we do not want to be ruled by the ECJ. We want our fishermen to have full access to our waters, and we don't want our future to still be determined by EU unelected bureaucrats. This bill is reasonable in solving these problems, is essentially in upholding international obligation of the Good Friday Agreement, and it is essential that great effort is made to prevent a hard border between Northern Ireland and the mainland of Britain. We have seen time and time again the naked political considerations. Most of the EU's desire is to see our country fail. This is hardly an example of negotiating in good faith, which has determined and dictated the EU's negotiating position. This government has no option but to introduce this bill.